Oh, okay. I can see myself good. Okay. I was like, oh my God. Help me, Lord. Okay. I was like, I can't see myself. I was like, oh, it's too wide. It's too this. It's too that. Oh my God. Okay.
No, I hadn't added you yet. So
let me redo my bun because no.
Girl, listen. Welcome to
a hot mess.
Monday
Like
night.
I just finished my 3-mile walk.
Oh, you look amazing. God bless you. I didn't get mine in yet, but I will be getting something in tonight. I don't care if it's
midnight.
Yeah. And most of the time, that's when I'll be hitting it late.
Well, that's when nobody's out. Like, everybody's in. Girl, all them people, white people trying to get coronavirus on that damn trail with their children's. I was like, listen, I need to get my butt home. Y'all all trying to catch this coronavirus. Y'all are the coronavirus. Sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. Girl, I had a whole moment. I was like, children are the carriers. I'm going to need you to get your children off this trail, please.
Yeah, I saw my neighbors come home the other day with a brand new baby, like a newborn.
Now, infants are catching it, and they are dying.
We had a 3-year-old or a 3-month or something like that. But I'm like, okay, your mouth not covered. Like the baby was covered, like, swaddled and everything, but her mouth ain't covered, his mouth ain't covered, and she like this on the baby. Ma'am,
we're gonna need you to get it together just for half a second.
So y'all, welcome to another follow-up to our dating town hall with none other than Epiphany. Yeah, Jeff, you talk about, oh no, not the baby. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You know what? Let me turn on my chat. How do I turn on my chat? I don't
you can't see it, but I can see it. Yeah,
no, I can see him.
Can you see the comment? Okay, great. Yeah. So
help me, Lord. Keep me near the cross. Listen, you don't even know, Lord. Help me, Lord.
Yeah, I see a lot of crazy stuff right now, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm inside this.
I'm sorry. I was going off about coronavirus. I apologize for
it's
those
all right.
of you who heard me.
It's all right, because I feel that way too, because I think it's just a lot of unnecessary dead people, and it's just crazy. But anyway. But yeah, so we're doing a quick follow-up to the dating town hall from last week. If you didn't catch it, y'all want to go back and watch it. It was amazing.
Yeah,
I'm still getting calls and texts. I had somebody literally call me crying, laughing, like she could not breathe, hyperventilating, laughing, because she said, I'm at the part where Jeff called Lil Kim an Asian man. And I said, I can't stand y'all right now.
Let me tell you something.
Y'all,
Jeffrey was a little out. Jeffrey was a little out of pocket. However, he was right.
Jeffrey is Jeffrey, and she has changed. I mean, if you look at Lil Kim then and now, she ain't the same person.
You know what? Here's the thing, and we talked about makeup, and we talked about all that good stuff. But I want to say this. She didn't ask none of us to put no coins on her surgery. So if you don't like the way she looks, look the other way. That part, right?
I just turn her off. I'm gonna be honest. I turn her off. I turn everything off, because for me, it just breaks my heart to see where she was and where she is now. But
you know what? I am a little Kim fan. I mean, I'm not all about the raunchiness, but she has some songs that I could definitely bump my head.
I can listen to her without seeing her. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I feel like you can listen to her without seeing her, because it's like, you didn't love yourself more to do this to yourself,
But it's so I
don't know what happened here, that she didn't like how she looked, that she felt she had to alter. You know what I mean? Like, or maybe it was she was just addicted to plastic surgery, because some people are just addicted.
Well, and don't it's that body dysmorphia where you look in the mirror and you see whatever it is you see. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's up to the people that surround you to really help you really see your true self. If you're not giving your friends uplifting comments, and then they're going out and they're doing all this extreme stuff, then, you know, come on. Like, what are you saying to your friends? Like, are you being a true friend? You know, I have cut off many friends that I had that I didn't have positive thoughts about. And the reason, if I don't have any positive thoughts about you and I'm sitting here berating you, I'm not your friend. I'm going to judge myself at this point, and I'm going to say, look, I'm not being a true friend to you, and I need to cut myself off because I'm not doing you a service. You know what I'm saying?
I think it takes maturity to get to that point, though. You know what I mean? And some people just aren't there, but it does take maturity to get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's the truth.
You know what? Let me tell you something. I have been through. So
I think that, listen, at my age, I ain't faking no funks with nobody. It is what it is. I'm gonna say it and go ahead. I said what I said.
We're not friends, but I got it. I got it.
I mean, you know, I mean, I think that, you know, we talked about makeup, and I think that I wear makeup. This week I started my skincare routine last night, and I'm not starting over and messing up my skincare routine. So this week is makeup free, and I love the fact that we're seeing more women in their natural state, because you need to see what you look like underneath that makeup. But that's another story. I am not anti-makeup. I think that like you said last week, makeup should enhance your beauty. It should not completely transform and morph you like you in some cinematic movie, and it's taking you from Sanaa Lathan to the alien. We shouldn't be doing that.
You know what? You did not just say the alien. I'm done. I'm done.
But
the show is over, people. I'm done. You know what? You listen.
But at the same time, it's okay for you to look like your makeup is natural. It's enhancing the beauty that's already there. You not trying to look. Yeah, like your makeup today. It's, you know,
listen, what I'm saying? It's all about the look down. Let me show you. It's all about the look down. It's all
there
about
there you go. There you go. You got the you know what I
mean? Listen, let me tell you something. Eyeshadow, it's all about the look down. When you got hooded eyes, it's all about, you gotta look down, baby, and look up, and then you gotta serve it. Listen, it's about leveling playing field.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said last week, if you don't level the playing field and tip it in your favor to get what you want, then you're never going to get what you want.
Yep.
I agree. So at the end of the day, whatever you choose to do to level that playing field, I mean, it could be extreme, but I hope it's not. But that's the point. I hate you right now. But seriously. But seriously, level the playing field and tip it in your favor and get what you want. Yeah. You know, yeah. So you sent me some topics. I think you sent.
Yeah, we're off topic right now. So, but yeah, we're talking about it. It's okay. It's all right. We chatted it up anyway.
You said you wanted to talk about vetting, and I was like, "Girl, bye." I told you I did not know nothing about vetting. I mean, I could help a sister out, but
yeah, I think the important thing is that, you know, you raised a very good point last week that I think that people need to understand why it was important for you to bring that topic up about vetting the person that you're dating, whether you dating them casually, you just met them or whatever, because when you started talking about that and bringing up the dangers of dating, I think it's really real. And I got people called me, text me, inbox me, talking about, wow, that was a good point. We need to go deeper into that because people have had experiences about it, and people identify with the dangers of dating and how, you know, it can be crazy out there. And I really wanted to kind of circle back to it because I know of a woman who she did online dating. And
here we go.
She did. She did. Of course, you had to pay, but she did one of those ones where she was looking for an executive. So you had to be at a certain level. You had to be able to prove that you were at. Yeah, so she was on one of those sites.
I know what this website is.
Oh no, ma'am, they have one where you have to be six figures and you have to prove your six-figure salary and all this stuff. So she went through that. And she met a guy, really nice, retired from and
I got it.
He did a background check on him. And I told her, I said, well, I think that's smart. Like, it is what it is. You can't just take the dating site.
Right.
As it is, because people can falsify documentation. People can do whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
So she did her due diligence and did a background check to see, okay, is this guy who he says he is? Name, basic information, that kind of stuff. And it came back. So she didn't have any reason to not go forward with dating. They dated for a couple of months. And it seemed to be going very well until he raped her.
At the front door.
So that's why when it comes to vetting your dates, even running a background check, you can run up on, now mind you, I mean, there's other things that go on, and it depends on how aggressive you are in your dating, but this happened, and it happens to, I'm sure, other people. So I think it's important to vet, but how then do you vet? It's hard to figure out how to vet people.
Let me tell you something. So from the pro vetter herself, aka my sister, from another mister, because we don't got the same dad, but I love him.
Right.
No, for real. Like, she prides herself on questions.
Right.
And, one great thing is she asks. If she has a question, she asks. She just asks and asks and asks and asks and asks. And she's like, as soon as they get uncomfortable, red flag.
Right.
She's like, as soon as, she's very cutthroat about it. Like, whereas I would have a bleeding heart, like, oh, I would make an excuse. So I'm showing my flaws. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She's very cutthroat about it. She doesn't hold no cut cards when it comes to them misleading her in any way. Right, if you lie to her, you're out the door. She's like, I can't. I've already been there with somebody who deceived me for such and such a period of time. I'm not going to put all her business out there.
Right.
And we've all been there, I think. But at the same time, she's like, kicks him to the curb. Girl, she kicks him to the curb right away. So that's one vetting tool that I can give everyone that may or may not be listening or may have to, watch this later. The other thing is, these people that say, oh, well, meet me at this hotel or meet me at my house. Like, really, your intention is one thing. Now, if you're down, now you got to decide if you're down.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think that depends on, now if you're just trying to hook up, it's not going to matter no way.
Well, but if but the thing is, okay, so there's two sides of the dollar bill for this one, because at the same time, when you meet somebody, you may not feel comfortable going through with something.
Right.
There is a fine line with that. And as a woman, you're receiving someone into your body. Let's be honest. Like, that's what it is. You're receiving someone into your body.
Yeah.
And no matter how you slice the bread, and it takes a lot to receive someone into your space. And if you're not comfortable with the vibe, or you're, whatever, you have to be in a certain mindset. I don't know. Yeah. I don't really understand how people hook up with like no chemistry. You know what I'm saying? Like they just want to get it in, and they think it's good, or they think whatever, but I don't have shade, but I'm just saying, like, I don't get that. But if you're down, that's another flaw. Like if they call and then all of a sudden, then they're not calling, then they call again and say, oh, well, how about I meet at your house? Or, oh, how about we meet at my house? Red flag. Do you want to go through with this? Like, It's clearly sexual. There's a lot that goes on in this area as far as that, oh, meet me at my house. And we can talk about women that, break these dudes down for their, $12, $15 drinks. And then dude is broke. Let's be honest. Like they've spent $500-$600 this month on buying women drinks, thinking that they're going to make a love connection. And that may be what they're looking for. But then by the time they get to you, and you might be the flyest chick on the planet, and they're like, you know what? 15 people done dog me out, so I'm just gonna dog this one out. You just may be the last cherry on the cake, whatever you want to call it. So that's just another thing where you can vet. I would say the last thing would be, are they evasive? Period. Like all of a sudden, like if they're just, especially for online dating, let's say you guys talk or whatever, then they're gone. Then you talk. Then you're gone.
Ghosting is a huge red flag.
Right. But then at the same token, it's kind of like, well, again, you can rationalize it like, hey, they told me they're busy. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So again, I think the biggest thing is, like we said last week, we boiled down to communication. Like I have 2 homeboys that, we sat yesterday, we had a FaceTime social distance chat and we talked for like 3 hours. And let me tell you something, friendships are going to get you through it sometimes.
Yep.
If you have people that you can kind of bare your soul to without judgment, and I mean, people are going to judge.
Yeah.
But if you have those people that you can bounce things off of about your relationship, and they're going to give you great advice, and then they turn around and they ask you about their relationship and you can give them advice, then I think that's a good, thing. I mean, me and my boys, when we sat down yesterday and we was on our FaceTime video, we let it all, like we let our sins bear.
Right. But I think it's important to be able to have that. I mean, you got to have people that you have that safe space too, that you can be like, okay, like you said, put it all out there and know that you're going to get that type of feedback back, whether it's, male or female, and be able to, like you said, help each other through it. I think a huge part of whether sometimes vetting is you need to let somebody else size that person up.
There's an issue with that, though.
Sometimes.
I think but okay, so let's say, we're homegirls and I'm like, girl, I met this dude, I'm jazzed up and I'm telling you all about him, right? And you're like, well, I heard this, Epiphany, and I heard that, whatever the issues are. And you're coming with a chip on your shoulder because of what I told you.
Right.
So you've heard my opinion already, and you're already going in prejudging. So I think it's important as you have someone else vet someone, just be like, I met somebody, this is their name, and leave it bare, because you want the rawest impression that this person can give your friend or your whoever, and let them judge everything for themselves. If you tell them anything, they're gonna
see that person from your point of view.
Your perspective,
and you're really not going to get, you know what I'm saying, a real perspective of, okay, well, I don't know what you got from this person, but this is the vibe I picked up, or this is what I noticed, or you know what I mean, whatever the case may be. Because sometimes, we tell too much, and we skew the other person's perception, so we don't really get a true depiction of what that person would have thought of that person, or how they would have viewed that person based off of, you know what I'm saying, meeting them for the first time or whatever, because now you done told them everything that you feel about the person or what you are afraid of. So now when they meet them or whatever, they're going to see that person through your eyes and not really a fresh perspective. But I got some friends that are really good. Right. And then, but at the same time, they know me, and they know it's not necessarily what I'm looking for, but they know me and they love me and want to protect me. So they're looking from a perspective of, okay, sis, he ain't ish. Or if you just looking to have fun, all right, cool, no problem. But this dude lying if he say he looking for something long term, because he ain't. You know what I mean? Like, you got to have people who,
I will tell you, I have a friend that girl, she got married. She just dropped a bomb on us and got married in like 2 months, maybe 4. And we weren't ready.
Wow.
And girl, let me tell you something. I was like, girl, it took everything within me to say, girl, if you like it, I love it. Because let me tell you something. You see these roads? You see the roads, they be going down, and you have to say 18 prayers before you get them there. Yep. And then you're saying another 18 prayers while, you know, and I will tell you, in the midst of her making her decisions and in the midst of me having her back, there was a whole lot of bumps. Because when you marry somebody that fast, you don't know them. You don't know them.
But see, that came out last week. It takes a while. Sometimes, man, you can know somebody. People been married 18 years and 40 years, and you still don't know them.
Right, but 4 months. 4 months. So,
but like, people want what they want, and then they get what they get, and now later on.
But you know what? They're still married. Years later, they're still. Let me tell you something. I think it was really God looking out.
Yeah.
But you know, at the end of the day, when you make the phone calls, right, when you make a spur of the moment decision like that, you have to have friends in your corner that are going to be like, girl, I'm going to help you through this. I'm going to make sure that you are successful in this. Right. So what I think the biggest thing is, who is your support system in all of this? Like when you're vetting, when you're doing all this stuff, when you're trying to find, if you're looking for your life partner, that may not be what you want to do. If you're looking for your life partner, what's your support system look like? Can you reach out to them? Can you say, you know, I really need you right now? Maybe you're very confused about your own decision making. You know, I think that's a very big step in making all your decisions. If you don't have a good support system, you're not going to be successful in your relationship, because we all struggle in our own heads. Like, I know myself the best, and sometimes I'm wondering what the heck I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. But that's true. I mean, listen, when you're dating, you got to have a support system for everything in your life. It's right. I mean, not just for business and I want to achieve this goal or that goal. You need a support system for everything, and dating, especially, because it's scary and it's hard. And it's like scary. When you expect your friends to be your support system, but I got to support you through this dude beating your head in.
Let me tell you something. You know, that's actually a good topic for us to talk about. So I've been there.
It's hard.
I have stayed, and I'm going to tell you as from a woman that stayed and went through some things that I should have never, ever, ever, ever gone through, according to all the men that look at me or whatever. I will tell you that there is this thing where you become. This is the best way I can give the analogy. You are a dog in a cage with the door open. Mm-hmm.
I've heard that before. I've heard that.
You literally, or any animal, you don't see that it's open.
Right.
You think, and it's really, it's someone just, you can't even imagine someone just breaking you down to the bare, you know, the bolts in the floor, you know, whatever. Right. So, you know, for all those who are supporting people that are in that situation, thank God I'm not anywhere near that situation at all. Thank you, God. But I will say, you know, sometimes you have to step away. Like, it took some of my friends actually just leaving me alone and not dealing with me anymore because they couldn't deal with any more of my stories. You know what I mean? And I had to be like, okay, this stuff is just not okay. And it took, like, really, I'm going to tell you what, God has always placed like these men in my life. Like, and when I say not dating men, but like men that always have my back and be like, girl, let me tell you something. They're not always GAY. Let me say that. You know, like dudes that will have sat next to me at work and be like, okay, let me break it down to you. I'm breaking guy code. Though, if you're a woman and a man is telling you what it is, please listen. They are not leading you wrong. They're telling you from a man's perspective. They know what a man is thinking because they are a man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's going to take you 7 times to be fed up with it and to finally get out of it. It didn't take me 7 times. I was planning my escape.
Right.
So, you know, I had a plan, and my plan did work. So I'm still alive. I'm not,
Thank God for that, because there's a lot of women who are not. I went through, I can say this, I went through it as a child watching growing up, and that has definitely influenced my decisions when it comes to dating relationships. So for me, that's where one of the topics come from for our next town hall, red flags. But the other thing is being a friend, doing my best to support while biting my tongue, because the last thing a person wants to hear is "I told you so," or forcing them or trying to get out. I think it really depends on the person. You have to know your friend, but at the same time, being supportive, but knowing when to draw the line for yourself, because your own mental health is important. Because if you don't take care of you, you can't support that other person. Right. And so, you will mess around. If you run into the ground, you'll mess around and say something that may cause that person to stay or make things worse for themselves. You know what I mean? Like you can't, and it's really hard, and it's a sticky situation for sure. So it's really hit or miss, and it's hard. It's really hard. But I will say this: dating right now, when it comes to vetting, you got to have a strong support system. You got to have people that's in your corner, male and female. I don't care if you gay, straight, somewhere in between. You got to have. Now, I mean, real talk. Everybody listen.
I run everything by my boys. Let me tell you something. I'm not afraid to say I run a lot of stuff by my boys. I'm like, does this sound right? Like,
listen, all the time.
Like my boys are it, and whoever comes into my life needs to understand my boys are not going nowhere. Like this is. And it's so weird because like a lot of my besties are men, right? And and that's a whole other time. Some of these I can, anyway. So I'm just gonna say, like, you're not. You know what? You're not gonna throw me shade, Dr. H. Don't throw me no shade. Now, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I can't do the crabs in the barrel. Like
I can count on one hand how many female friends I have. Like my inner circle so small. Like I don't need no extra.
I think I have 10 good girlfriends. Right. But they're interchangeable. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, everybody fits a different purpose.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it's only, you know what I'm saying? Like I have people that I connect with on different levels. So if there's a certain level, there's a different 8, and there's a different 8, and there's a different 8. So, whoever's listening, if you're on my Facebook and you're like, oh, this chick don't really like me. Whatever.
Understand.
I do love my
it's one of those things that you got to know your role, stay in it, and play it.
But the thing is, like, if I call you my homegirl, or I actually call you my friend, and I've said to you, you are my friend, right? I really mean that. Like that is not a word that I use very lightly. We've been through some things.
Agreed.
And
it's an honor for me to call you friend.
Right. Right. Some people call me their friend, and I just sit quiet. So the thing is, you got to listen to me. I'm very calculated in how I communicate sometimes.
I've said this before, just because someone calls you friend does not mean that they reciprocate that feeling. And you have to know that. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. You might consider somebody your friend, but that don't mean they consider you a friend, and vice versa. And I think if more people, especially women, digest that and really get that, won't use that term loosely. 2, they won't tell a business to everybody. Because guess what? If here's the thing, if I call you friend, but you don't call me friend, but I'm confiding in you as a friend, you gonna go and tell somebody else my business. Because it ain't going there, because you don't see me as a friend. So you don't value the same level of confidentiality that I'm expecting from you, because I'm expecting you to be my friend and not to tell my business. But you don't see me as a friend, so you don't feel obligated. So now you got diarrhea in the mouth, and now everything I've told you and trusted you too. And so I think that makes things messy. So it makes it very difficult, especially when you're dating, because I'm confiding in you about my dating situation.
Right, girl.
Now I'm ready to bust your head wide open.
So let me tell you this. I think you posted a picture today about you bake. I'm gonna go here, okay? Because you know what? And let me before I even go there, let me say, make some more donuts and don't send me none.
That was last year. Those were sweet potatoes.
We're not gonna make excuses. All I'm telling you is
I made them in 2017. I didn't even make them last year, I don't think.
Whenever you posted them, this chick right here was hot. Okay, so let me say this, because you had all this stuff on the table. I was like, Jesus. Anyway, so I can cook. Like I'm the family cook.
Right.
I will, if I don't know how to make it, I will look at 18 YouTube videos until I find my recipe.
There you go.
Okay. So I make this banana pudding. And a lot of people, have tried my banana pudding and they love it. So I went to Cookout years ago. And if this person is listening to this story, please do not be offended, but it is what it is. So, because they are my Facebook friends, anyway, so I made this banana pudding and she can cook too. Now, don't get me wrong. She can cook. And she had gone to do something, and this was at her man's house. And, I was dating somebody at the time, and her man was eating the banana pudding. I was like, what?
Yeah. Like, he was in that, yeah. He was having a moment. Yeah, I know what it's like to cook and somebody have a moment.
Dude, you're gonna be all right.
Right.
So his homeboy turned to him and was like, look, I don't know who can cook better because I made some burgers, girl. Those burgers was like good. They were good. They were like, I don't even know who cooks better. Like it was like a debate.
Oh, that's a problem.
While she was in the bathroom, I think she was in the bathroom. She was doing something because when you're host, you don't sit down. So they asked him. They were like, well, between your girl and Epiphany, who do you think is better at cooking? And I'm like, this is not a real question. Like, this is not happening. This is my homegirl, whatever. And so I'm looking at him like, dude, do not do not do this because I will get up and walk out. So, I had my date there. Thank you, Jesus, for dates. And so he was like, nah, they're neck and neck because like this banana pudding is bomb and what she made was bomb. And I can, we made some completely different things. So they really couldn't be compared.
Right.
So like, I want to say 7-8 months later, she was dating somebody else. She was like, Epiphany, I need you, to make me a banana pudding for my man. But I already told him he can't fall in love with you over this banana pudding. Girl, are you serious? Okay. First of all, then if that's the issue, then you need to come and learn how to make this banana pudding because how my life is set up, we're not going to have any issues about your man liking me because I made a banana pudding. You need to learn how to come make it. Like, it's not a secret. I looked it up on YouTube.
Right.
I made whatever it was work for me, and it just turned out good. You know what I'm saying? A lot of recipes come from trial and error. So at the end of the day, women, the key to a man's heart is his stomach, even if he's physically fit.
Right.
If you can make the best grilled chicken breast and broccoli that man can eat, trust me, he's going to come back. Come on.
I'm Southern, so I know the truth. I'm Southern, so I know the truth.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you, it's a real thing out here. If you can cook,
had that man thinking about you in his sleep because he's thinking about that meal. Oh, okay.
And the thing is, they want to be able to come home and not spend them hundreds of dollars in the restaurant. And it's not like they don't want to take you to dinner, but if I could get that $100 and go buy something else, trust and believe I'm going to make a $25 dinner because realistically, you bake 2 steaks, two baked potatoes and whatever, all the sides and a dessert.
You can make a surf and turf for less than $50 if you really know how to make it right. You're not, but listen, I know a guy who his regular dating budget for one dinner.
Oh God.
One dinner. One dinner. 200 plus. That was regular dating budget. One dinner.
And how many dates did he go on?
One date. That's one date.
No, but how many dates did he go on? Like a month or?
Might have 3 dates a week. That's his. No. That was his dating budget. Mind you, this is a guy that has a bunch of that. Mind you, this is a man that does tailored suits, so it's nothing for him to spend $600-$700 on a tailored suit. So, but everybody may not be balling like that. Number one. Number two, I got to go to a point that Troy made last week about spending money on stuff, but you ain't got money for a down payment on a house, or you don't have money for this, that, the third, or whatever. You got like, it's just like Carrie from Sex and the City, the woman with a whole bunch of shoes. She had a closet full of shoes, but when it came down to buying her apartment, when it went co-op, she didn't have money for a down payment. Her down payment was them shoes in that closet.
I just think this. We have a lot of buying power in the Black community, more buying power than we realize. And if we actually patroned each other and actually knew how to give customer service, because that's another thing, but I won't go there. But if we actually patron each other and really supported each other, we would all be rich. We would, like, truth be told, like, if you just buy whatever it was that you needed to purchase for your hair from your homegirl, instead of going into whatever beauty supply you attend, I will leave it alone. But if you went to your homegirl who imported her hair from China, because it all comes from the same place. If you watch that Good Hair video,
it is. It's all come from one place.
And you know what? After I watched that Good Hair and saw them maggots and stuff in that hair, well, my hair is natural, but I don't know about putting no weave in my hair. Like, come on. I could do synthetic, because I don't know if I want something that was like that had to be processed and a lot of stuff. But anyway, so, I mean, if we really did that and invested in ourselves, especially as Black women, we would be really well off. But the problem is that we're too busy competing with each other. And the problem is that slavery really brought that about. Like, we are still under a slavery mentality.
People, but you can't tell nobody that we're not still slaves to Willie Lynch syndrome. That Willie Lynch don't exist, and that was way back then. Oh, okay. Right. The man had a system, he had a plan, and it worked. So yeah.
Turn on my light real quick, because I'm gonna.
But no, I think it's. I mean, but it's real talk. But if you don't have a strong support system, when it comes to dating, and again, if you're competing with your homegirl, that's not going to help you out in these dating streets. That's just like going to the club. Back in the day, you can't club by yourself. You better have your support system, somebody to watch your drink, somebody to watch your purse, somebody to watch his why, because you don't know who's going to slip what into your drink. You cannot vet somebody if you loopy. If you can't have strong discernment and really kind of know who you're dealing with. If you not, like, you got to understand, it's real out here. If a man would be out here trying to steal your purse in the grocery store, what you think he gonna try to do? You know what I mean? Like, stuff is real. 2 teenage kids just went to jail for killing a girl over some Yeezys in Miami. It's over some Yeezys. So the mindset, the mentality today of just everybody, it's everybody, every man, woman, boy, and girl for him or herself. And so,
I think the other thing is we focus so much on labels, right? Oh, I'm wearing this or I'm wearing that. I think that we have given our children this mentality of, I'm not good enough unless I have on a Gucci belt and some Jordans or some Gucci slides, or you know what? I'll buy Fochis and wear them, and you know what? And I'm good as long as my bills are paid and nobody owns me for $3.50. I'm great. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't have some like labels in my closet, but trust me, I got them on sale.
My closet ain't filled with them. I get it. And some people are what they call label whores. That they just have to have it. And but I think that one of the things that we have to realize, that especially now, that what's more important. I think right now we have to understand priorities. And I think with what we're dealing with this pandemic, is people are realizing the priorities of human to human contact and the importance of being a human being, a person, treating people like human beings, and the power and the importance of relationship, period. Just total relationship. I don't care if it's, just friendship or if it's platonic or otherwise. We're seeing that, I hope that people don't take for granted, human interaction anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because before we would take it for granted, we could be literally, like I said before, I've seen people on dates. I literally have seen people on dates and they're right across the table from each other. They can't talk, but they're on the phone. And I'm like, you're on a date, you're across the table from each other. And I think now, I would hope now that we're in this quarantine state, that when we come out of it, people will understand the power of human contact and relationship and what it is to connect with people now that you don't have that opportunity.
Well, I think that is a good point, but I also think being able to be by yourself is another good point. I think because the thing is like, how well do you know yourself? Do you even know what it is you want? And when I had my conversation with my boys last night, I really thought about, I said to them, well, if this happens, I kind of looked at myself and I kind of got overwhelmed, because I said, well, what if I do get this? What if I do get what I want? And then I got scared. You know what I'm saying? I was like, am I ready? These are things that you should be thinking about right now. Are you ready to be in a monogamous relationship if that's what you're seeking? Are you ready to be, like if you said polyamorous, or whatever type of relationship you're looking or you're seeking, or if you just want to have more positive friendships, who do you need to cut out of your life to have that? I think that it's important just to do a lot of reflection and just get to know yourself and be good by yourself at times. I don't necessarily think right now would be a positive time to be on any dating apps, because right now,
it's something. I think you make a powerful statement, because I used to have an employee when I was up in DC. I had an employee who literally said to me, I don't know how you go out to dinner by yourself. I was like, what do you mean? You don't know how to date yourself? You don't know how to enjoy your own company? She said, no, I've never been to dinner by myself. I've never taken myself to dinner by myself. I've never done this by myself. She was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what that feels like. And it would feel weird. I don't know if I could do that. I was just like, well, how do you know what you're looking for in a person or what you like if you don't know? Or how do you know if you don't know what you like? I didn't understand that. I felt bad for her, because I was like, you don't know what you like because you can't even enjoy your own company. So you're looking for a man to feel
and that is
to make you happy. And she said, I said, but how can he do that when you don't know what makes you happy? I said, you're putting all of who you are in somebody else. I said, and that's dangerous. I said, because what if you never meet anybody who will? I said, because that's not somebody else's responsibility. I said, you have to be complete in you. And to do that, you got to have time alone with yourself. She said, I don't like being alone by myself. I said, why? She said, it just makes me have to think about myself, and I don't want to think about my life. I was just like,
I'm definitely taking myself out to dinner. And if I'm out to dinner by myself, I do not want to be bothered.
I
agree. I'll sit at the bar. I'll have me a little drink. Listen, I'm just by myself. I don't want to be bothered. I may say something to someone to my left or to my right if they're by themselves, but I'm definitely not interrupting anyone else's dates. Right. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just here to kind of blow off some things and really reflect on maybe my week, myself, my month, my year, whatever it is. And, that's it.
I agree.
At the end of the day, I think that a lot of us as women, we're so indoctrinated to be with someone we are less than if we don't have someone. So I think that that's where that comes from, is that indoctrination. You're less than if you don't have a man.
Right. It is definitely a lot of pressure that I think is very unfortunate. It's just like the pressure to always look good. Again, I woke up looking like this. No, I didn't.
I did. I woke up just like this.
With my hair all over the place, probably. But I promise you, I didn't wake up with full makeup on and eyelashes. The way my sleep is set up. I'm here to tell you. So I think that I think that we do have a lot of pressures, just like men have pressures, women have pressures that we deal with. I don't think men understand sometimes the pressures that we have. They just see what women put on, so to speak, not understanding that we do have certain pressures that are imposed upon us, even from when we're little girls. We're taught things. There's that double standard has a very fine line, and it's a lot of crap that we are indoctrinated that tell us. And again, I think it goes back to slavery, because we were taught as women, you do this, you do that, and it indoctrinates you. And I'm not talking about taking care of the home and all that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about if you just how things have been for women up to this point. You got to have a man by you or something's wrong with you. Just like in Bible days, if you could not have a son, something was wrong with you. When that's the dumbest.
Well, that's not even Bible days. How about if you go to China?
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing, because
it's real right now.
The woman does not determine the sex of the baby. It's in the seed of the man, but it's hard it's hard for people to digest that. So the woman is always the fall guy. And I say this, and I don't care who get mad about it, but the Black woman is the most, to me, disrespected woman on the planet. We're expected to be everybody's savior, but at the same time, you want to talk trash about us, and we get the hardest time about wearing our hair natural, or if we want to wear our hair braided, or if we don't look European, or if we this and we that. But then at the same time, other people get to rip off what we look like. So I don't understand, but at the same time, we're expected to be we're expected to be so super strong all the time that when we have a moment of weakness, we crazy. She's angry.
Yeah.
She got an attitude, and people expect that. And it's like, that's not the case. It's just like, we were not built to bear the brunt of a lot that gets put on our shoulders. And when it becomes too much, we need to let off that steam.
Right.
But it's okay for men to let off some steam, want to come home and baby, let me let off some steam. And we take it. But when we want to let off some steam, it's like, girl, I ain't trying to hear that right now. And they had a hard day. What about me? Like, I ain't had no hard day too.
I think the thing is, like, as Black women, though, I don't know if you were told this, but I was told this. Like, my mom's told me, like, almost every day. She was like, there is a hierarchy. I'm like, oh, here we go again, Mom. And she'd be like, listen, it starts at a white man, then it goes the white woman, then it goes the black men, and then it goes Black women. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen that hierarchy play out in that exact motive. And it's not even, and you can feel all the other races. Black women are the bottom. If you wear super brown skin, and I consider myself brown, okay? I don't care what nobody say. Like, I think you and I are similar in tone.
We have, as my friend says, we have that exotic sun kiss. Man, it's exotic stuff.
I feel like, just because I see someone with more melanin than I feel like I'm the same as her. Okay. But when you're told this your whole life, you worked your butt off for these degrees. You work your butt off for everything you got. So why do we have so many Black women in our age group that have more degrees than anyone? Because we were told that was indoctrinated in us. And now let's just flip the coin real quick. when we have this indoctrination and we're doing very well, I can walk by a man at 7-Eleven who's asking me for $1. Why are you asking me for $1 when the hierarchy has been set up in your favor? And sometimes it's so set up where you can surpass a white woman if you play your cards right. So my biggest issue is not necessarily the indoctrination. It's the fact that we have, unfortunately, in our age group, we have this disconnect between the men and the women and what they were supposed to do as young men. I hate to say this, I feel like their fathers didn't do what they were supposed to. And I'm not speaking to every father, and that's a broad statement and all that stuff. But when we look at our age group and in our generation, we definitely have a lot of brokenness, because that's when a lot of divorces happen and dads were leaving the home and drugs were really, was all about free sex and love and whatever, all of that went on. And we were products of that. Like, for real, and then you expect these children to come out and navigate this on their own. And then all of us had children and we're trying to help them navigate stuff that we can't navigate ourselves.
Right.
That's why we are the most unmarried, like in our age group, if Black women are the most unmarried, but most successful group in America. You know what I'm saying? As, Black women in America. Mm-hmm. So again, I just think that, we have to figure out what our roles are. And and the other thing is, why can't you date out your race?
I think that
somebody that appreciates you.
I was just about to say that a lot of people, especially a lot of Black women, have found success with people outside of their race. We can look at Serena Williams. For the longest time, she was like, she didn't think she was going to date anybody. She was going to listen. It was brown until do or die forever. But, she had a hard time because they would either cheat on her, disrespect her, you know what I'm saying? Or you don't know if people want you for you, or for your connections of what you had, all this kind of stuff. And so when Alexis came along, it was just like, she was trepidatious, but at the same time, this man asked her what she wanted for dinner. She said Italian. He didn't just take her to an Italian restaurant. He flew her to Italy.
Listen, but if
you look at it,
proposed marriage, right? I might go against my own rule and be like, okay, let's do this thing.
But a lot of Black women have found success in, if you look at back in the day, Josephine Baker and a lot of women, they had to leave this country and go to Europe to get any type of respect, let alone love and affection and appreciation. Man, I was in the parking lot of the store the other day, just yesterday. I was in my car backing up, and this guy flagged me down. He was a handsome white guy, older gentleman. And he was like, "You are just gorgeous and stunning." Listen, when I
tell me you got a date.
Let me explain to you how mudded up sis was. When I say I didn't look like this, and it wasn't the one that wake up like this, but I won't bust it either.
Okay.
I was just kind of in. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. But here's what turned me off.
Oh,
it wasn't the compliment. It was what came after the compliment that ruined it.
Here we go.
Right.
Into the roller coaster.
Thank you. Because instead of asking for my number and going there, because I'm like, you got a nice car. He's this, and I'm not impressed by cars, but for appearance, he was nice. But what came out of his mouth next did not fit. He was just like, take my number and call me.
You know what? Let me tell you something. I probably would have taken his number and I probably would have called him. And let me tell you why. Because sometimes it is so overwhelming for a man outside of our race to even know how to approach us.
Right.
We are scary women. They're very scary. Like there's some Black women, like I will give you yesterday, not same thing, but I was in the parking lot waiting to just put a little air in my tire because my little system in my car said, sis, you need some air. So I'm waiting for this car to move because the other air thing wasn't working or whatever. This Black woman sitting there, just, I don't know what she was doing. No judgments. But I'm like, sis. So I was like, I can't approach another Black woman in the parking lot. I do not fight. Like, I'm not about that life. I have never been about that life. So anyway, I was like, I walked up to the car and I was like, excuse me, are you done? And I think it was because I approached her in that way. If I'd have been like, you don't know, it would have been a whole other thing on Easter Sunday morning.
Right.
I'm telling you, Black women were scary. Right. We don't know, like, people don't straight up, especially African-American women or whatever you want to call yourself. We're scary. Yeah. You don't know what you're going to get on any given day.
Yeah. And I didn't even think about the fact of that he might be intimidated. But here's what got me. I'm glad I said no, because as I drove off, I just watched him circle the parking lot. He just kept driving and circling the parking lot. So I'm going like, you just out here trolling, looking for women, looking to pick up people.
Is he trying to give people coronavirus?
I don't know. But I just was like, and this is the other thing. He didn't have a mask on, and we have an order. Like, it's law here. You got to have a mask on. And I'm going like, but I thought it was just odd that he would just keep circling the parking lot. Just circling the parking lot.
There are people out here trying to give other people coronavirus.
You're tripping, and I got to go. So, but I just found that it was interesting and weird that, I had that encounter that, hey, I'll take the compliment, but for me, the follow-up matters. But it just didn't connect to me that, hey, Black women can be intimidating. And I've had somebody say that to me before, but they didn't say it for the right reason.
Wait, oh.
Clap back. They was trying to clap back. And I just was like, your level of insecurity has no bearing on me. I'm gonna need you to go deal with that. Because what I'm not gonna do is on your insecurity.
Okay.
Go on somebody's sofa.
Please keep note to self. Do not make Dr. H mad.
It was their level of insecurity. And I don't, here's the thing. And I think that this is important. And if you're dating, I'm so serious, like, especially if people start showing insecurity, because they will project that stuff off to you. And if you're not careful, you know what I'm saying? You'll mess around, it'll get up here and you're going to think something wrong with you. I done been there, done that. And what I'm not doing is revisiting that time in my life. Because it took me to a low point where I had to really bring myself up and say, wait a minute, where did this insecurity come from? Because I used to love me no matter what size. I've been big my whole life. Don't nobody expect me to be skinny now. If you do, that's your problem. Go find you some skinny chick. I like to eat. I eat meat. Don't come to me talking about no vegetarian, no nothing. I eat meat. I eat this. I eat that. I've been big my whole life. As long as I'm healthy and my doctor's report comes back good, I'm fine. I do it for me. So somebody else's insecurity created insecurity in me. And so now my self-esteem was messed up. So I checked that immediately at the door now. Like, don't come here with that. You're not going to project your crap onto me and make me think something wrong with me, because ain't nothing wrong with me, honey. I'm big, beautiful, and loving it. I am a card-carrying member, lifetime of the Thick Thigh Life. Trust me, Thick Thighs save lives. Go ahead on with that. Y'all go ahead on with all of that other stuff. But I promise you,
oh, Jesus, help me, Lord. Keep me near the cross. So I think that's another thing is we can actually talk about like the trend, black women weren't in for a long time.
We were not
in.
And if you didn't pass for non-Black, you were not.
Let me tell you something. And Black women are now back in. And I'm like, what happened? Like, I'm serious. Black women are in. Like, it, Listen,
and the darker, the better.
Right. I'm not sure. You know what? I'm just kind of like, what is going on? Like,
I don't know.
I just be thinking. I just be thinking, like at the end of, I'm like, well, why are we in? Because, at some point it doesn't even matter what you look like. I could, if I could look like you, I could look like me, I could look like whomever, I could look at like Venus, I could look like Serena, and I think they're both bomb, Little Kim, it don't matter. But at the end of the day, Black women were not it. And now that it has been socially acceptable to be
it was. Yeah, there was a huge.
It is now socially acceptable.
Yeah, because there was a huge trend towards Black women ain't the woman today. Get you an Asian woman. Remember the Asian trend? There was white women.
Asian women, and I had an issue because I was like, listen, I'm never going to be a size -0. Double zero, whatever.
With petite feet.
My pinky toe is. I mean, I'm not. Whatever. I'm not huge, but at the end of the day, double -0. What are you doing with that?
I know a woman right now who's a size 2 that feels like she's still too big. Body morphia is a real thing. But here's the thing. That's where I feel like that there's been a shift, because we talked about this, and like especially when I was talking about when I showed you guys with the chick with the fix and flat in the butt and all that. Body morphia is real, and we went from you got to be super skinny, looking like somebody's supermodel, like you said, on the catwalk, to now you want to have Brazilian butt lift and curves for days, and you want to be 36.
Here's the thing about that. Who made that in? Who got that in? Like the thing is like when we're talking about curves, Black women had those curves
all the time,
naturally. So at the end of the day, that's why Black women are now in. Mm-hmm. We can talk about butt shots and all that stuff, but the thing is, naturally, we have those curves and we have it. So that's why Black women are in now. But now, you got a whole bunch of angry Black women that are out here dating and doing the most. And I'm not lying, right? No, they're doing the most. And I'm just not appreciating it. Like, if you don't like bruh, don't be taking like 18 drinks off of this dude because he's killing you. You wrong. Karma's a real thing.
But that's like I said, I stopped friending some people because they were just going on dates just for a free meal. I'm like, you so cheap, you can't buy your own food. Like, I don't like that, because it creates a problem for women who are serious about dating and looking for somebody. And it creates a bitterness among men, because men get bitter. Let's not act like men don't get bitter, because they do. About stuff, because guess what? Get out that man pockets if you're not serious. Oh, I'm dating to practice. Then go take yourself out on a date.
I just can't get with it. Like, at the end of the day, I think the thing is, if you're not interested and you let them know, look, I don't feel you in that way, and they still choose to do for you, then that's something different.
Right.
But at the same time, like when you're at the club and this dude has handed his credit card, honey boo-boo child, that's just debt. That's $100.
That ain't gonna work in your favor or nobody else.
$100 of Black debt. You know what I'm saying? That you are gonna have karma on. I don't care how you slice it. Them $100 is gonna come for you.
They sure are.
So I mean, even like my homeboys, like I may go pick them up or whatever, and they may be like, oh, let me get you a drink or whatever. Okay, fine. I don't ever really trip off that. Like, whatever you can do, I can definitely do for myself.
Right.
So when I have someone that says, oh, let me take you out, I could take you here, I could take you there, I could take myself there too.
Thank you. Thank you. And here's the thing. Don't think that
he's trying to take me to.
Right. And here's the thing. When you say that, people get offended. It's like, I'm not saying that to offend you. I'm saying that to let you know that I'm not easily impressed by that. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know if people, I don't know what kind of women are out here that are giving this impression or these moods that people are just, I don't know. I don't know. But
we're talking about a facade and keeping up with the Joneses. We mentioned that last week. I think the biggest thing for me is that, we are proponents of that as well.
Yeah.
I think when we're walking out of the house, looking a certain type of way, knowing you got 2 red pennies in your purse, and that's about it, sis. And you know, you're basically like, oh, let me hit so-and-so up. I know they'll give me this. Let me hit. And then you hit up like 8 different people. I won't even say dudes, because some chicks will use their homegirls too. Okay.
I need $40 for this. I need $40 for that. I need $20 for this. I need to. It's like, well, y'all do that? Like when I see guys talk about that, I'm like, who y'all talking about? Because I don't know people like that, but this is really happening. It's like a poverty mentality because that's really all it is. It ain't about what you have, because you just flossing, you just flex. It's like what Horace said last week. You wait till them $1,200 checks hit. I'm telling you right now, I got folks on my timeline talking about them $1,200 checks, and they done already spent it. I'm going like, sis, you got bills. Like you talking about spending on everything but your bills. But then you'll be the same one over here looking for again, hitting this dude up for $40 for your nails, and this for this light bill over here, and for this. I'm just like,
I don't, you know what? As someone who lived on the system for a bit and, you know, worked my way up and worked my way out of being on, you know, relying on the system and relying on these little $1,200 checks and this and that. I mean, my life isn't perfect, but whatever I want to provide for myself, I can.
Right.
And so, you know, my biggest issue is with the, you know, it's just people, period. It's not just women. With these type of people is, what are you doing to better yourself? Like, if you're grabbing $40 from 8 different people that you know, are you investing that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Sometimes the $40 isn't going to hurt you, you know, to give to somebody.
Right.
But at the same time, like, are you giving them $40 to start up a company? Are you giving them $40 to make their life better? Are you giving them $40 to just step off?
Right. Like, if I give you $40 and you talk about you up in the club, we fighting.
At some point, I think that men need to hold women accountable as well. Are you building generational wealth? Like, I can see a man giving a woman $1,000 because she's buying a house and she's $1,000 short on her closing.
Right.
I could see that.
Or it's an investment in a franchise company or whatever she's doing that's going to keep.
Is she grinding? Like, is she grind? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, before this coronavirus, the coronavirus. No, but for real, before this, I was trying to start like my eyelash company.
Right.
And, you know, I'm like, girl, and I'm doing all these figures and I'm doing all these projections, and then coronavirus hits and I'm like, my product is stuck at customs. I didn't even know that I had to have an import license because they're mink lashes. I had to get an import license, like, on the fly. It ended up that it only took like 6 hours for me to get my import license by the grace of God, and I got my product. Like, I had done all this research. I had vetted this company. I vetted my vendor. I had vetted all this stuff. Now, mind you, I didn't ask nobody.
Right.
I didn't ask anyone for the seed money to start my company. I was like, I'm going to start out with this many lashes and see how well they sell. Okay. But I guess I could have asked someone, hey, can you give me X amount of dollars and invest in me and my business?
Right.
I guess I just never thought of it like that. But I guess if I would have, then once this thing does end, I could probably just sell out and then do another order, whatever. But that's neither here nor there. I think that when we're talking about someone asking someone for money, are you getting the money to build yourself up? Or are you giving it to Sally Sue, who does your nails every 2 weeks?
Yeah. I think the plan is, especially when it comes to dating when it comes to dating and money, it's kind of like, when is it too soon to ask that person for money? To start borrowing and asking for money. You know what I mean? It's like taboo. Some of this stuff is taboo, but it's happening because I'm shocked. Like, when we talked about the $40 and like you could buy sex for $40, people were shocked by that.
I'm down with that.
But it's real. You know what I mean? And people call me like, this is real. I was like, a crackhead don't care. They $40. It's a lot of money.
And you could probably get it for $5. Like, you know,
it's real. A blowjob is, you know what I mean? Like people think that things are super expensive. This ain't the Beverly Hills Madam. You're not paying for somebody to go to a $600 fundraiser to be on your arm. You just and so it's the perception and the mindset, and it's shocking to people. But yeah, people really out here spending $40 for sex.
I don't know why when it's free, but whatever. To each his own.
But
like I really don't. I mean, I guess the other thing is if you do pay for it, there's really literally no strings attached. But
again, it goes back to what you said.
I do respect about,
you're still inviting somebody into you, though. You know what I mean? Like what you said earlier. At the end of the day, whether you pay for it or it's free, you're still inviting someone into your space. When you lay down with somebody, you are exchanging more than body fluids and DNA.
You know what they said? They did this. I don't even know who it was. So I'm just quoting out of thin air, but I remember hearing it. So when you're having sex with somebody, you actually do emit chemicals that do cause a connection. And they have proven that. Yeah. And so think about, however many bodies you got, how how many bodies you got. Nobody else does.
You know your body count. Yeah, you know your body count.
You know your own body count. We're not counting for you. So you know what it is. Those are all your connections, boo. Mm-hmm. Those are all on you. So if you wanted to be out here, and to each his own, but hey, at the end of the day, how many connections do you want to have out there? And, and that's why people have, I thought about so-and-so, because you have a spiritual connection, like that was put within us and they don't understand why,
we don't have enough conversation about the spiritual exchange that happens when you have sex. Because first of all, whether you're religious or not, especially religious folks, they're going to tell you just don't have sex, but they don't explain to you the soul tie connection, the spiritual connection that happens because you're exchanging again. It's more than just bodily fluids.
There is more than you just sweating on each other that emits from your body to make you connected forever.
Right.
And so again, when you're laying down or you're letting someone in your body or you're going into someone's body, you don't even know. A lot of times we don't even know what is going on with somebody in their mind. And sometimes you don't want to have that spiritual connection.
Right. Because sometimes, listen, what is that person thinking about? I know a married couple. I know somebody who's married, and one of the things they said was they don't want to have sex with their spouse. If their spouse is turned down by porn, they don't want to have sex with them. Why? Because now you're thinking about somebody else, and that's not a turn off for them. It's a turn off. So it's kind of like they feel like that person is in a different frame of mind, and now their explanation was different. And I'm just
listen, to each his own, but I think you put a lot of restrictions. So that's another thing. Like, as people, how do I put this? I think you have to meet everyone where they are. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's just like what Troy said. If you vanilla, don't be with nobody that's spicy.
Right. But the thing is, if you don't let someone be who they are, that demon is going to come out. And you may not be ready for who, that demon,
because it's gonna roll because they're oppressed. They are sexually oppressed, but then at the same time, you need to have a conversation with them to find out what is it about porn that excites you. You know what I'm saying? Like what kind of porn are you watching?
I mean, I don't know. Porn is
maybe it's a conversation that their person, maybe they're watching it because they're afraid to approach the partner about something they want to introduce that they like, but they're afraid because of labels or whatever that the other person may not be into it. It's a lot of things that go into people's fears.
I think it's just out there. The problem is that when you put these restrictions on someone, you're not trying to get to know them. And then why did you marry them? Like this is just that's very loaded. I can't even go. Like I
think it does. It boils down to again getting to know people. but creating that safe space where people feel like they can be vulnerable. There's a conversation that's going on right now in Ringside. We posted the link in the dating town hall, and I agree, Alan. Your freak levels need to match. And that's basically what Troy was saying. But there's a conversation right now about vulnerability, especially a man feeling that he can be vulnerable with a woman. The thing about it is, my comment to that was, can you be that peace? Can you be that safe space as a woman where a man feels like he can be vulnerable and open to be able to express how he feels, whether it's, some type of pain or whatever. And that starts with the dating process. Like when you're getting to know somebody, are you that safe space? Are you that peace that man needs to be able to open up and even have dialogue and conversation with you about whether it's I'm freaky, I'm into BDSM, I'm into role playing, I like to dress up and do cosplay, and I want to be Superman while I hit it from the back, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? It's just different things but can you be that safe space, that piece that man needs to be transparent and have that open conversation with you? You know what I'm saying? To really expose who they are. Because again, I don't want to be married 40 years to somebody and still don't know them. That don't make no sense.
But that goes to what we spoke about earlier. One, you got to know yourself.
You got to know yourself.
And so one of our comments last week was men want peace. Remember, there was somebody that said a man wants peace, and women want peace too. We don't. I don't.
Again, we're supposed to be able to ones that create the peace. We're supposed to be the peacemakers all the time.
But let me say this. I want to say this. Here, the thing is that yes, I can definitely be peace. I can allow you to be vulnerable, but when you're being vulnerable, the thing is sometimes I, as a receiver of your vulnerability, then sometimes I can't handle it because it's a low, like when you're being vulnerable, you're unloading things onto someone else. So how is it that you can unload without me then taking on your load and freaking, you know what I'm saying? So you have to know yourself. You have to be confident within yourself. You have to be okay with, they're saying this. I need to stay calm. I need to stay cool. You need to be saying this in your head for, whoever this is, stay cool in your head, because most of the time, this isn't about you.
Right.
It's about them being able to share, and it's only going to make you closer.
Right.
Being in conversation with someone about 2 months ago, they called me and they unloaded some things that I was driving. They were very emotional and I wasn't ready. And I was like, I had to ask the question, like, not that I went off or, sometimes like, even if I'm freaked out, I seem very calm.
Right.
That makes sense. But I asked them, I said, well, do you want me to respond? Or do you just want me to listen? Sometimes something as simple as that. Do you want me to even formulate an opinion on what I just heard? And a lot of the time they don't.
Right.
I say at that point, you need to encourage them. And then when you're ready, be vulnerable with them and say, this is what your statements the other day made me feel. Because when you're talking about vulnerability, you have to be vulnerable too. However that statement or whatever was said makes you feel, you need to be able to share that.
Right.
And that's important to both of you. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that, again, it goes back to what I said earlier. Sometimes you're not in a space to be able to support people. And sometimes the best thing you can do is just be quiet. Because if you're not in a space to be supportive, don't say nothing. Because something gonna come out and it ain't gonna come out the way it worked out in your head. It ain't gonna always come out right. So sometimes the best thing you can do for both of you is to be quiet. Or just like there was a meme that was going around a couple months ago that was saying, basically talking about self-care and how it's not selfish to pass yourself and to say, I'm not in a place right now that I can be supportive of you. Do you have somebody else you can talk to? Because I can't right now. that it's not selfish. It's not selfish to say I'm not in a place to where I can support you. If anything, self-care matters. You can't draw from an empty well, baby. So if you on empty, or if you running on fumes, you're not really helping that person. You think you are, but it's not, because at this point, again, like you said earlier, it's about you or about them.
But even if you're running on fumes, and maybe I'm just a different type of person, I don't think that you should necessarily shut them down, because sometimes in that very moment, that's the only moment that they're going to be able to share.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Think it's how you respond. You know what I mean?
So sometimes you just need to say, this isn't about me, and let it go in one ear and out the other. If you can't process it and you can't give them anything, you know what? Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I feel like we need to revisit this at a later time.
Right.
Right now, I can't respond. I don't want to respond because I'm having an emotional day myself.
Right.
That is so easy.
Or just don't answer the phone. It's okay to not answer the phone. I think. Right. I think sometimes it's okay to not answer the phone. Sometimes you got to scream.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. When I went to grad school, one of my favorite things was screaming. Why? I ain't here for nobody. I got nothing for you. And it's okay. You need to be honest with yourself to say, I ain't got nothing for nobody right now. I shut down the last part of the year last year. It was a hard time for me. I had one death after another. I didn't have it to give to nobody. So I just wasn't in a space to communicate that. I just was like, I just can't right now. And so I had somebody who was like, are we still friends? Yes, but I just can't right now. I need you to respect that. Just give me my space. Because guess what? When you're the strong friend all the time, or when you're in a relationship with somebody and you're the strong one all the time,
right?
It's hard. And so sometimes, when you're dating, you got to be careful when you're dating that you don't always come across, because then somebody gonna think that you crazy. No, it's just I'm the strong one all the time. And right now, I need to know that the person that I'm dating, if this is at the serious point, if you're at that point where you're seriously dating somebody, you got to be able to have that conversation and be like, listen, I'm having a real hard day. It's real stress. It's just a bad time right now. I'm having a hard time. I need somebody that I can talk to. If they say no, you got to be mature enough to be okay with the fact that they said no, and not feel some type of way that, I couldn't go to them when I needed to. Maybe they going through. Maybe they can't handle. Maybe they're not ready to hear you unload that kind of stuff yet, because you might feel like you're at that point in the relationship, but that don't mean they feel like that. That don't mean that they feel the same way.
That's why it's so important to I think it's important to have, I used to have somebody that I was in a relationship with, and we would have these sessions called amnesty sessions.
Oh, wow.
How well they work. But you have to be very adult to be able to have these sessions where you say, whatever is said in this session, you can't use it against me.
Right.
Ever. And if they ever use it against you, then, you do what you do, whatever it is, maybe walk away from that relationship. I don't know. I can't tell you what to do.
Right.
Sometimes you need to have these amnesty sessions where it's like a session where you're vulnerable and you just shed off that cloak of armor and all that, and you let it, you leave it on the carpet, whatever it is, and you just say, listen, this is what's bothering me. I hate your right nostril, whatever it is.
I can't say you for that.
It's simple. I'm not trying to, go too hard, but it's very important for us as people to be able to communicate. And right now, I've been just talking to people, talk to Forrest, talk to my homeboys. I just talk, just be able to communicate clearly and clearly be understood and not feel like, oh, did I say something wrong? Like, I'm a real reflector. If I have a conversation, I feel like, oh, damn, like, I don't know if that came across right. I will check in a day later or 2 days later and be like, when I had this conversation, did you take it this way or did you take it that way? That's just me.
No, I've done that before too.
I
can't sleep.
Yeah, it'll bother me. Like, I'm one of those people that it does bother. I'm not a faker. Like, I could tell you all day I don't care, but most of the time I do.
Yeah.
But it's just me and the core of me. I care. I do want people to like me. I don't really want anyone out there hating me for an arbitrary reason that I could have fixed. You know?
Right.
But I think honesty sessions are something that if you are close with somebody, you can do, and you can say, it can even be with your homeboy or your homegirl or whatever.
Right.
Maybe y'all have been friends for a year and y'all just hit a rough patch and you guys got to hash it out.
Right.
How do you hash it out? Most of the time we have these big blowout arguments or whatever where you're not seeing eye to eye. But before you get to that point, you can say, listen, let's just make dinner, order dinner, whatever, have a drink, whatever it is y'all connect with. It could be pool, which you can't do right now, coronavirus. But seriously, whatever makes you connect with that person,
right?
Important, yeah. And then I'm just looking, Clyde, and emotional intelligence is, yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's very important. And I think I'm one of those people that does have a high emotional intelligence. I do give people the benefit of the doubt, probably more than they should get.
Right.
Rationalize things for people in the midst of their circumstance. I do all these different things and I make concessions for people. I listen, I'm a listener. I don't, sometimes I don't necessarily want to listen, but I do. And sometimes I don't give advice. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, well, I can't really answer that for you because my thing is, I don't want, certain things on my hands. I made this decision. You helped me make this decision and it wasn't good. And so now I have an issue.
I think here's one of my favorite statements. And Clyde I went to college with Clyde, so he's heard me say this before. he's heard me say this before. I think Rain Bradley has heard me say this before. What do you want me to do with this information?
Right.
Because I'm not about to assume you want me to do anything with this. I don't. What you need to tell me what you want me to do with this information, because I think when it comes to emotional intelligence, empathy goes a long way, but people sometimes don't understand empathy and the power of empathy, or even how empathy can come across. And sometimes people will absolutely run over you if you're too empathetic, especially in the beginning of dating. And when you're vetting somebody that you're dating, they will take that as weakness and run over you like a Mack truck or whatever. And so you have to, there's a fine line in that process between, coming up with excuses about people. This is why you got to have a good support system, because I have people like Clyde. I will call him in a minute and be like, listen, and be like, bruh, this is what happened. So I got friends from college that I can still call to this day and be like, listen, I'm talking to this dude and this is what he said. Such. And they be like, this is what's really happening.
Mine is valid.
And it's grateful to have people. You got to have people like that in your life that you can pick up the phone, whether it's a text or a call, and be like, listen, and I don't care if they know the person intimately or whatever. Listen, you have to have a tribe of people that you can trust, but at the same time, because knowing that, okay, am I being too empathetic? Am I being, you know what I'm saying? Because women, I think, and I'm telling you right now, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Been like this my whole life. I don't know. Again, that's another thing that I don't think anybody should be expecting different from me, because that's it. But at the same time, I do have a temper. Don't try me. So it's like it's like those scales. You got to find a good balance when you're dating people and you're vetting. It's like, when do I let this part of me out? And when
let me tell you something about that temper thing. Let me tell you something about that. I do have, I'm just very different about that. So you can make me real mad. You can make me real mad, but I'm a thinker. And I'm one of those people that really believes in a lot of karma.
Right.
So this is how I handle stuff. Regardless if you get on my ever-loving nerve, I'm going to let you live with that. Whatever you did to tick me off, I am not going to in turn tell you anything. I'm be like, oh, okay. I'm going to treat you how I want to be treated constantly. You know why? Because you're not gonna ever justify like doing whatever it is you did to take me off and blame it on me, and in your mind think it's okay.
Right.
I want you to sit with your, and sometimes it, you know, I don't know what people think, but in my mind, that karma is coming back to you. I didn't put anything going back your way. I'm not even giving you that energy. So since I'm not giving you that energy, I'm telling you,
I think it matters for sure. I think it's a matter of I think it matters too, for sure, if, you know, how people balance it. It's, for me, it's going to be, don't catch me on the wrong day. Because sometimes I'll just sit there and think, like, well, now, let me say this. Who I am now versus who I was back then, it's totally different.
Yeah.
Now, it's like, I'm going ahead and let you drown in this.
And, I mean, I'll be nice as pie. I'm so serious. I will be so nice. I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to yell at you, because what you're not going to do is say, oh, well, this is why I did this. Right. You're going to live with your decisions.
Because I'm not going to be your fall guy, because sometimes people do stuff just so that they can be. Because listen, when I don't care, even in the beginning stages of dating, y'all know how this works. Certain seasons, depending on when you start dating, certain times of the year, folks finna tell you some nonsense so they can pick a fight because they want to get out of whatever it is that they're trying to get out of, or whatever the case may be. You know, cuddle season, they looking for their cuddle boo. But then it's this season because they don't want to spend no money on no gift. Whatever the case may be, it's always something.
Right.
You just have to, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you guys got to know for yourself. For me, I'm just kind of like, whatever. But it does matter to an extent. So I think that when you're dating, part of the vetting process, it just really, you got to be mature. First of all, if you're not mature, you shouldn't be out here dating. Just go ahead and stick with hookup culture and go sit down somewhere. I don't know. I don't know. That's just me. But if you're serious about dating, this is a situation where, you know, dating is not for the weak. Right. It is not for the faint at heart. It's real out here. It really is real. And you really do got to have a solid support system, and you got to know what you're doing, and you got to have some folks that really got your back. Like, I don't care where, I don't care who. I got some folks right now, I ain't talked to them in a long time, but they check in every now and then. Let me post something crazy that they have a piece of think that I had literally, like, this was like 10 years ago. I had some folks call me, do I need to make a trip? Because I can book a flight right now. Are you good? I had people's wives. One of my friends from college, his wife, she was like, do we need to book a flight? Because we can be down there in 2 hours. But that lets you know, you know what I mean? Like, I appreciate that kind of love. But I was like, oh no, this ain't about me. I'm cool. But thank you. I appreciate it. But you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. And listen, it's crazy. It's scary out here. Yeah. And I agree. I mean, yeah, people don't date for these very reasons. It's a lot. Yep. It's a lot. And you need a lot of emotional support. Yeah. Like, dating is mentally and spiritually, emotionally draining. It's a lot. It really is a lot. I don't care if you dating somebody that you met on the internet or in church. I don't care where you met them. It's hard. And right now, I agree with you. Right now, I think right now is the perfect time to get to know you. Date yourself. Enjoy you while you in quarantine. Why? Yeah. Again, you can't figure out what you like, what you going to accept, what you don't, especially at this point in your life. With everything right now, this is the perfect time to get fresh perspective about what you want in your life and where you want to go moving forward. And what you want to
be happy being alone.
Be happy with you. Love you.
The thing is, like, I have taken more walks and just spent time with myself. And, you know, hey, I vlogged some miles, honey. So, you know, like, I vlogged some, like, one day I'd walk like 5.5 miles. The other day, you know, like, I'd be walking some miles. But at the end of the day, when you're on these walks or whatever your journey is, or whether you're riding or whatever, you're getting to know yourself.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, you have to pour into yourself.
Right.
Before someone else can pour into you. If your cup isn't full, then how can you give anything? So, like, when we talked about last week, Jeffrey was like, "Oh no, I approach." I love Jeffrey.
I love him so much. He get on my doggone nerves sometimes.
I'm not. Well, he didn't do all that, but you know, he said, I'm sorry. He said, "I'm not letting them propose. I have science class or biology class to get to." I was shook, but
no, that was Troy. When he said
I got biology class,
he said, "I got biology class. I got finals." I hollered.
My feelings were so hurt for whoever that was. I had empathy out of, like, for real. It was a lot. But I will say this for those people that sit there and, you know, you when I said when I made the comment that said, I said, well, why is it not okay if they're telling you I'm a whole person? Telling you you're a whole person. I think you're a whole person wanting to be with. You know what I'm saying? I think everything is about positioning, like your statements, and, you know, really having people know you and know what you're asking. And so that takes what we said at the bottom line was communication. You know, so, you know, getting to know yourself right now, being comfortable, I guess it would be okay to be on dating apps right now and make a whole bunch of mistakes, because you can't, especially you can't really go nowhere.
Right.
So you could make mistakes, communication mistakes right now, and it just be like, well, whatever, you know, I'm not going to see you. It's whatever. But, you know, it won't be so detrimental. I think it's good to make mistakes. You can't really learn if you don't make mistakes, and you just got to be willing to put yourself out there. Be like, you know, like we were saying earlier, being vulnerable and really being okay with that.
Right. I like what Alan says here about you can enjoy being alone, and that's fine, but there's still a yearning to share your life with someone. And I think that a lot of people desire companionship. And let me say this, companionship doesn't necessarily mean marriage.
True.
And companionship doesn't necessarily mean, you know, intimate. It might just be platonic. When I say intimate, sexual, it might just be platonic. You can have a platonic companionship. It just depends on your maturity and what you are looking for. Well, but I agree that if you don't love you and enjoy yourself, you're gonna have some issues out here trying to date or look for any type of companionship of any kind, because you don't really know. You don't really know what you're looking for, because you don't know thyself. I really think that it just comes a point where you got to know yourself.
Well, I like what Candy said. No one wants to grow old alone, which is why people force relationship.
Yep.
You know what? Okay, so here's the thing. In our age group, it's getting down to D-Day. It's the 11th hour. And you know what? Let me tell you something. I am not lying. You know I'm not lying.
I hate that whole biological clock ticking conversation. I hate that. I'm like, please get from between my legs, please.
You know what? I already have my 2. I'm done. The ship has sailed. I don't have that. The biological clock has done ticked off. So it's like I don't have that. Right. But I will say, when we're talking about growing old with someone, that's why these dudes are looking for you to cook. Period. That's why these dudes are wanting to know if you can clean the house. That's why these dudes are wanting to know, can you manage your money? Because when you're 65 and you're living on $200 a month, Lord Jesus, I'm sorry.
But that's the truth.
You're living on $200 a month because you're getting Social Security, or I don't even think we're going to get Social Security. Crazy. They need to know that you can manage them $200. Maybe you can only get lettuce for $199, and the electric bill is also $199. So what you gonna spend it on? Mm-hmm. You know, like realistically, like, can you manage them $40 that homeboy just gave you, honey bunch? Like, come on. As women, we got to do better. And I'm single. I've never been married, but let me tell you something. I don't like these women that have been married and have scarred these men, something serious, and then I get a hold of them and I'm like, oh God, you're a red Pinto. I'm putting it out there, Dr. H. You are a red Pinto wagon, 87, with a dent on the side. You need a new paint job. You need a transmission. You need some engine work. You need a new carburetor. Like, you need a muffler. You need your interior redone. That's the kind of men we're getting. Yeah. Just part from the
and I think that there's so much out there. They're between damaged men and damaged women. This is what get me about people who've been married and divorced. Not everybody. When they say, "Oh, it's overrated," because you're trying to convince somebody else because you had a bad experience. Go sit all the way down with that. Right. What you're not gonna see, that's that energy that I don't need. And see, that's the people you got to check out. That's your insecurity. And I'm finna check you with that too. Don't bring that here. Because you're not going to project that onto me and make me decide that I don't want to get married because you walking in bitterness. Keep your bitterness over there and go see somebody about that.
It's important for you to have healthy married people around you too.
Yes.
If you're looking to be married, I think that it's very important for you to have a guideline and like if you're in a serious relationship, you need to have a guideline of what a healthy marriage looks like. Right. And I will tell you, as a woman that grew up without a father figure steady in her home, I told my homeboys, I didn't know what a real man was. I wrote a poem about it.
I think a lot.
Let me tell you, from my homeboys, I learned what a real man should be.
Right.
And they're not interested in me. Okay, I'll just put that out there. But I will say that they check on me. They do things that a man should do.
Amen.
Like, oh, this is what a real man looks like. There are examples of what it looks like, and you have to recognize it. So as you're recognizing it and appreciating it, then you say, okay, you put it out there. This is what I'm going to have. You have to manifest it. Like people say, I'm manifesting my $1 million. You need to manifest your marriage. I am going to be married too, or you're manifesting your business, or whatever it is you're manifesting, whatever.
Right.
But I really believe that healthy relationship examples, people who communicate, people who are going through this and they know how to do it, should set the guideline and the tone of how you should do it.
I agree.
I
think this is a good point. Candy's making, she said, I love being a wife and entered it for life. I just got to the point where I realized infidelity is not a part of the ups and downs of a marriage. And that's true. Again, this is where you have to know yourself and know your boundaries and understand what you're going to accept. Let me tell y'all something. It's a whole lot of men out here that were raised old school. When I say old school, they were raised by men who had that mindset. If I can do whatever I want to do, my job is just to bring you that money home and you take care of the house and I can still do what I want to do. I know somebody right now who is married.
Did you see that comment in ringside about the 2 hot dogs? Oh, I was shook. Let me tell you something about that comment. I've been bothered by this comment for 2 days. 2 days. It's been 2 days. And I'm still not over it. Because here's the thing. Here's the issue. If you like hot dogs, one, and you like them grilled or whatever it is, right? And you're going to get mad because this woman cleaned the house. You didn't say the house was dirty. You didn't say none of that. You said I shouldn't have 2 hot dogs brought to me as the man paying all the bills. What does that mean?
Right.
You have to understand. Let's switch roles for 5 minutes.
But that's what Troy said. What if I like hot dogs? I don't have an issue with hot dogs. What if I like hot dogs?
But if you don't like it, then why are the hot dogs in the fridge?
But again, there's a generation of guys that are raised by or when I say raised, meaning their example was, I'm going to bring I'm going to bring the money home. You don't talk to me about what I do outside of this house because I'm bringing home the bacon, so to speak. I can do whatever I want to do. I know somebody right now who's married to somebody like that. And that was a struggle because they grew up seeing their father do whatever he wanted to do because his job was just to bring that money home and provide for the household. Listen, I can tell you right now, I ain't of that. I'm not of that equation of you do whatever you want to do as long as the money come into the house. But a lot of women, especially Black women, put up with that back in the day. And we have a conversation in ringside about that because that's toxic behavior. We're not accepting that crap anymore.
Black women.
So we're not accepting that no more.
No, but it's women, okay? Because we had the first lady of the United States, 12 years ago, what was it, 12? Girl, I don't know when Hillary and Bill were in the office. Okay, we're not going to go there. But
back then,
when Bill was in that office, he did his dirt on that dress.
Yeah.
And we all know what it is, people. So
and we still dealing with that all of these years later. Girl.
But let me tell you something. If the woman in the White House who happens to not be Black, okay, how about that? Accepted and says, I'm staying with my man. You know, I think that you are a very strong woman if you do stay, because at the end of the day, you have to weigh what is important. I think a lot of men want to be out of a relationship. And so instead of saying, I don't want to be with you no more,
they do foolish
they
stuff.
will go and have an affair.
Yeah. And I do think that it matters like that, you know, when you're raised in a political sphere, there's some things that you accept. Think about the movie Head of State with Chris Rock. Listen, it was a parody, but he was telling us some truths in that parody. You know, they was like, oh no, we have our own team of super whores because we got sick of the scandal, such, and Blase split, all this other kind of stuff. But
girl, I live 8 minutes from DC. Please don't even get me started.
I don't listen. I used to work in the area. I used to live and work in the area. So I know.
So I'm just saying, at the end of the day, what is important to you? Have you communicated what's important to you?
Boundaries.
I mean, maybe I know some people that are married that don't even, get down, right? They don't do the do. It's a marriage of convenience.
That ain't for me, but okay.
but I
get it. But people have boundaries, but that's what they want. Just like people who get married for money.
Right. I just think sometimes it's just a straight business transaction. A
lot of people do see that.
And I go my way.
Right.
And as long as we show up at these events together, because we look good together and we can take great pictures and we have this happy home, this supposed happy home. I told y'all
about the Boca Babes last week. I told y'all the Boca Babes is real once your novelty wears off. Like you have a novelty. And
girl, I worked in Boca. I'm familiar.
Yeah. And then I worked with a girl when I was in Lord, where was I? When I was in Virginia in Tidewater, in the Chesapeake area. I worked with a girl. She was divorced, remarried. She said, I married for money the first time. She said, I will never do it again. She said, the second, she said, I wanted to get out so bad. She said, I was willing to take whatever, even if it cost me, I just wanted to get out. She said, the second time I got married for love, and I love it. And I would never make, I would never change.
See, and I've heard the adverse. So I heard, and the thing is, I think, again, it comes down to communication. And it also comes down to, what are you willing to put up with? What are your breaking points?
Yeah.
And that goes back to our foundation of our conversation, getting to know yourself. What is your breaking point? What is your breaking point? Because your breaking point is different from mine. There's some things that I'm willing to put up with that you definitely not, and vice versa. Right. At the end of the day, you have to know what your line in the sand is that turns into concrete. Right. And if it turned into concrete, they shouldn't be able to pass it.
And it's just like, okay, and it goes back to what Troy said last week. If you vanilla, you need to find vanilla. Like, you have to date at your level. Right. Don't be out here trying to be spicy. If you know you don't do jalapeno, don't be, and you vanilla, seriously, stay in the vanilla pool. If you know you can't swim, don't be over here in 6 feet. You need to stay over here in the shallow end of the pool. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think people have this facade that they got to keep this image up. And it's not, you ain't, it's had a lot, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a lot going on, but you've got to communicate, get to the nitty gritty, like you were saying earlier about your sister. Ask and keep asking questions.
If they can't answer, listen, this is her real rule, okay? And my sister, let me tell you something. She gives some great advice. She said, anytime they can't answer, I kick them to the curb. Period. Yeah. Period.
Ain't nobody got time to
that may not be your thing. But if you're online dating, if you can't deal with deception and that's one of your triggers, and 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 that's what getting to know yourself is about, because there are real mental illnesses that are undiagnosed out here these days.
Yes, and it's showing even now with this quarantine really bad.
You really need to know if there is some sort of issue. Okay.
Right.
And it's not saying they're a bad person. They just they may need to just be in therapy once a month.
They need to lay on somebody's sofa, and ain't nothing wrong with that.
And it's a good $20. That's a reason to lend somebody $40. $20 for their copay, and another $20 maybe for the gas tank. Whatever.
Right. Yeah, no, for real. But that's true.
That's investment in yourself. That's betterment of the person. If they say they're going to a therapy appointment, you better give them that $40. Okay.
Listen, that will drive you.
Boom, there it is. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about knowing yourself, if you know, hey, I'm a little this, or I feel a little this way, this pandemic is showing people who they are, and it's also showing other people who they aren't. Right? It's all coming out. The shenanigans are real. At the end of the day, I honestly hope that during this pandemic, I can make my own certain decisions that I'm struggling with, because I'm not perfect.
I agree.
I'm just on a panel. I'm just giving my advice, but trust me, I fall short, just like everybody else.
Oh yeah.
And, I'm just speaking from personal experience, but you may not have had the same personal experience as I have, So, and
I think some of the challenges too, like we're discovering that, people, you marry some people married out of convenience. Some people married because that person wore them down. It was like, it's all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm like, listen.
I think that we all make choices, and whatever your choice was, right? You made a choice, you said a prayer, you made a hope, you did whatever it was. Okay. Right. I think the thing is, anything that within limits. Okay. Most things that you think are bad sometimes are not that bad.
Right.
Sometimes I think that we over sensationalize the negative because it's on our last nerve and we can't deal with it. Mm-hmm. And so the thing is, you have to go back sometimes and say, what was it I was thinking when I asked for this person to be a part of my life, right?
Right.
So if you ask for this person to be a part of your life because of X, Y, or Z, and then you're like, X, Y, and Z get on my nerves, you asked for that. Right. You asked or made the hope for that. And so you have to get down to what it was you liked, what it was you expected, and kind of really dig at yourself sometimes before you even bring a vulnerability or an issue to the other person. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to bring that to the other person and they're going to feel a type of way, because trust me, we all feel a type of way, then, you have to be able to work through that. And I think I'm just one of those people that is willing to work through certain things.
Right.
I ain't gonna put up with. Like, right.
I agree. I think this point came up last week in the dating hall, that so many marry because it was the expected next step. That came up in the conversation last week in the dating town hall when we talked about, people do stuff because it's expected. It's the next step, but that don't mean it's the right step. But people get pressured into it. And one of the things Jeff talks about, he talks about this all the time, is how it's annoying to have family and friends ask you when you're going to get married, when you're going to settle down, when you're going to do this, when you're going to do that. Well, maybe I'm comfortable where I am in my life right now. Maybe I'm not ready for that. And I think it's just mature enough to say, or just stop having conversations. Like, I don't talk about my dating life with people. That conversation is off limits. Why? Because people irritate me. It's an irritating conversation. It's frustrating because I don't need to. I'm at this point where I'm not explaining my dating decisions to anybody. Well, none of y'all paying my bills, so it's kind of off limits, because I learned that the only person at the end of the day out of that conversation was frustrated was me. So I'm the one who's responsible for saying, okay, this conversation is a no-go for me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
say, well, when God brings him, if he showed, I said,
oh, girl, I've said that too, and it goes into a whole other conversation. Well, what are you doing? And da 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 da. Okay, so you really
wait a minute, honey, did you bring somebody for me? Is he ready to propose? Like, you got to turn some certain things around on people. But the other thing, one thing that Troy said that resonated with me, like so much, like it hit my heart so hard, and I hope he's like on here listening, is he said when we were just on that one, you know, where we're trying to get to know each other last week,
right?
He said a man will, if I'm in love, a man will do anything. He said he would do anything to be next to the person he loves.
That's right.
So at the end of the day, and all this conversation of knowing yourself and blah, 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 if your significant other isn't doing anything and they've professed love, and this is something I'm struggling with right now, so that I'm going to put my business out there in the street. If they've professed love to you and they're not doing anything to be next to you, you need to ask yourself some questions. You need to reevaluate your relationship and if it's even worth staying. Because at the end of the day, if they're not doing anything to be next to you, to give you, and it's not even about like physical gifts or money, but to give you the emotional and spiritual and mental and physical ones that you want, like those things that are free. We all know what I'm talking about.
Right.
The things that are free cost the most. Okay, people. Everyone knows what I'm talking about, right? We're talking about time. Time costs the most.
Yeah, it's expensive and you can't get it back.
Listen,
that's a full-on investment.
Do not let him, let me give you $1,000. No, give me 1,000 doggone minutes.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. If you give me 1,000 minutes, I'm gonna do some stuff with them 1,000 minutes.
Okay, let's put a plug in this. Because I need to tell the men something really important right now. If you don't get nothing else out of this conversation. Because she just hit it for y'all. For women, not everybody, but for a good majority of women, time matters a lot to us. Give me your time. And I ain't talking about sitting here playing video games. I want your undivided attention. I want your time. I want your undivided attention in this moment. So $1,000 versus 1,000 minutes, I guarantee you, if she's a woman of worth, and she's into you and she wants your time. She gonna take them. She gonna take that out. Because why? Because that time is way more valuable than that $1,000.
I'm trying to tell you, if you give me 1,000 minutes of your time,
bang,
even if I cook dinner and you give me, even if I cook dinner and you're still spending them 1,000 minutes with me,
listen. If I'm cooking dinner and you in the kitchen watching me cook, just having conversation with me, do you understand what that's about to do for you?
You don't even know, honey.
You don't even understand how you just set it off. And you don't even know how you just set it off for yourself. You just set it off for yourself.
Amen. Y'all men want to know what is it with you women? That's what it is. We're not getting it. We want you to listen. We want you to be there. Sometimes we want you on our hip. We want you right there.
Right.
I want them 1,000 minutes. I want 2,000 minutes. I want 10,000 minutes. I want all them minutes because it's gonna cost. It's costly.
Listen,
it's costly.
Listen, right now in quarantine. Listen, I'm trying to tell you, dude. Men. If you listen, this quarantine can work in your favor. I'm trying to tell you, you can walk out of this quarantine. It's like a dude who has a baby and that little girl got you wrapped around your finger. Let me explain something to you. If you work this thing right, you can make this work. But you have to you got to know how to finesse it. Don't be sitting there acting like you paying attention when you ain't paying attention, because we know. But trust me, if you want her to get into sports, if you want her to sit there and get into that video game with you, if you're not already dating somebody that's into that,
right?
I'm trying to give it to you now. I'm trying to tell you. Here go the secret. Seriously, because she gonna randomly be like, babe, she might be watching Lifetime, whatever she like to watch, and be like, "Your game on, let's watch the game."
You're welcome, Clyde.
She might be like, you know what I'm saying? She might, babe.
But see, Troy set this off, because when he said it, it just, first of all, I almost broke down into tears, because what I was getting, or what I was looking for from someone, I wasn't getting. And so it, like, in that moment, it really broke my heart.
Right.
And it was like the mirror had been put, like, I didn't show it, you know what I'm saying? But the mirror had been put in front of my face. And then, you know, I've been dealing with this time situation since quarantine. Now, people tell me I'm pretty. People tell me that I have great conversation, but I'm by myself.
Right.
All the time. Hello. And I guess I'm smart.
I think, but a lot of it too boils down to sometimes when you're a woman of status, because I've had this conversation, Horace and I talked about this. When you're established, you said it earlier, especially an established Black woman, you can be intimidating. And so we're giving y'all the nuggets. Listen, go on and take that step, because trust me, don't let an appearance of what you think or your insecurity stop you from approaching a woman. Don't feed into all Black women are angry and aggressive, and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that and give you a hot. That's a narrative that is a lie. Some Black women are like that, but not all of us. And so it's not good to lump us into that. And if you're a Black woman and you're established and you got yourself together, you know, I can get how we can come across intimidating, especially now when we are really making up. Women overall, period, not just Black women, are making a lot more money than men nowadays.
We've been fighting for it,
right? And the financial dynamic of the household is shifting. And so because the financial dynamic of the household is shifting, it can make some men insecure because of that provider role or whatever. But at the same time, don't be all into, listen, at the end of the day, a woman wants companionship too. And strong women don't have a problem submitting or loving and cuddling up to the right man. But we ain't gonna submit to no fool and no nonsense. I'm not here to be your sugar mama.
I don't even think it's that. Like, I'm going to even be honest. Like, at the end of the day, if I care about somebody and, I need to buy groceries or, whatever, and they're giving me what I want, I think that it's a joint effort. I think that if we're in this together, like, I guess I'm just that ride or die chick, Dr. H. I'm just going to be honest. I'm that ride or die chick. If you're going to listen to me, you're going to motivate me, you're going to pour into me and hold me accountable for things. And in return, I hear your hope, your dream, and your wish. Let's do this.
Right.
Let's do it together. Because at the end of the day, your success is my success. And we're rising to the occasion together, no matter what degrees I have, no matter what degrees you have, because I want to win, you want to win. So why can't we win together? You know what I'm saying? I just think that more women need to be team players.
Yeah. I think that, again, it boils back to what we said earlier when we first started this conversation 2 hours ago. Girl, this time flew by. We just had...
I don't think the boys are going to let us have no more conversations by ourselves.
I don't. But it boils down to, when you start talking about vetting and dating, you have to know yourself. You have to know your boundaries, what you're willing to accept, what you're not willing to accept. And once you kind of know those things, you can go forward and be clear about what you're looking for. Here's the other thing too, when you're vetting and you're dating, we grow and we mature and we change all the time. It's okay to change your mind. But at the same time, you have to know it's okay for them to change their mind too. I said this last week that I was dating somebody that midway through, guess what? Like, we were deep into it, and midway through they changed their mind and decided they didn't want the same things I wanted. Now I had to make a decision. I can't be mad. I was upset at first, but then I was like, okay, wait a minute. I can't be mad at you for that. But I got to make a decision. But don't get mad at me when I make a decision to walk.
Right.
Because I'm not finna lay down what I want, and I'm not finna go on this BS of you back and forth wasting my time between you want it, you don't want it, because you're just trying to string me along. So it's okay to change your mind, but respect the fact that it's okay for that other person to change their mind too. But also, when you're dating people, don't ignore the red flags. Just don't excuse it away, don't explain it away, don't do none of that. See the red flags, digest it, but you got to decide for yourself what you're willing to accept. Would you say?
Everyone's red flags are different.
Right. So you got to know what you're willing to accept and be willing to be ready to walk away from. And it's okay.
And
but you got to know you
really are looking for.
Right.
You know, sometimes you're not looking for something real serious.
Right.
You know, that's okay. Sometimes you kind of want to just see them once every 2 months. Right. And that's all they want to see you too. And that's work.
And that's real.
Nothing wrong with your relationship. It's what y'all choose.
Man, so please, there's some married people that don't even live together. What you talking about?
With your homegirl or your homeboy about this. Oh yeah, I saw them 3 months ago, but you didn't tell them this is what we've established as normal.
Right.
Then your homegirl and your homeboy is gonna be looking at you like what?
Right. Right.
You. That's why it comes down to your support system really knowing you.
Yep.
And you really being careful of who you share with, because people are out here. Your best friend could be shady. And we all know that story of that person that somebody slept with somebody's bestie, or we all know. We all know.
But remember, I said earlier, just because you call somebody friend don't mean they consider you a friend in return.
Right. Right.
And so you got to be careful of who you are confiding in. You really got to, when you're dating, you can't just vet the person you're interested in dating. You really got to vet your social circle. True. Like you got your friends, you got the outer circle and the inner circle. Mm-hmm. And then you need an inner circle, because again, you got it's levels to this. It's levels to your friendship. You said it earlier, like you got different friends you go to for certain things. Mm-hmm. You got to establish these boundaries, and you have to know who you can trust with your inner core secrets, especially when it's dating, because trying to date and keep everything in, that's hard. You got to have people you can trust, that you can, that safe space.
You may want to bring a test friend out with you around your homeboys or your homegirls. They can just and tell them, listen, you're a test, because you fine, you this, you that, whatever, you look good, you a test. I want to see who hits on you. I want to know, because I need to figure this out for myself.
Yeah,
Y and Z happen. This is real stuff out here. So maybe it's deceptive. Call it what you want, but I believe in testing everybody. I test everybody. Everyone gets some sort of test. I push the boundaries with all my friends. You could ask them. I've gotten on everybody's nerves. Seriously, no, I'm bad. But seriously, no, you have to test some people, because at the end of the day, if they fail the test, then they shouldn't be near you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like real talk. Right. Now, again, Candy said she said she's glad she has her. I have real friends too, but also I have some friends that have had some shady moments.
Oh yeah, well, I think that is human nature. I think it's human nature, but again, you know who you can go to, who you know what I'm saying about certain things. That's one of my babies. I pledged her, but
you agree?
But
okay, we're gonna talk.
but one of the things is I got friends from Skiggy. Like I said, if I post something that they think half a piece of, they're gonna be like, you all right? Do I need to get on the plane? What's up? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, again, there are certain friends that have certain roles, certain places in my life. And then there's nothing wrong with you. If you go to one person for everything, that's a crutch, that's unhealthy. To me, I personally feel that way, but it's up to you. But I think that's dangerous. That's up there with not knowing yourself and putting all your happiness and all of who you are into somebody else. And you know what I mean? Right. But there comes a point where you got to find that moment in your life where it's like, okay, where am I? What am I looking for? And again, like I said, when you're vetting people, I'm not just vetting the person I'm dating. Like I said, you need to test date. I'm reminded of that episode of Living Single when Sinclair went out on a date on the guy who did the guy that played Tommy, God rest his soul. And they all went on the date too. They were at the table next door making sure that, you know, the date went well, and then she come home. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might need some friends that might be ready to, like, bruh, if you even look wrong at her, we finna rush this table. You know what I mean? Like, and making sure, because again, you know,
I have my homeboys do that. They do that. They're like, oh, I
had somebody do that for me when I was in DC. When I was getting ready to go out with the chef, I was introduced to the chef or whatever. I had somebody that was like, "Where y'all going? Where y'all going? Okay, I'm gonna eat lunch there at the same time."
Right.
I'm gonna coordinate my meal.
You like, for real? Like, this is what we doing? But you know what?
It was crazy to me at the time, but then I was just like, you know, I really appreciate that, because I don't know this guy from. We talked on the phone, like we had talked on the phone for weeks.
Listen, and let me tell you something. People are coming up missing. This is a real situation out here.
It's a real situation. It's a real situation, and you don't want to be a statistic. That's why we said, when we said dating is scary last week.
See, it don't matter. The people are coming up missing. Yeah. So you just, please.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So you guys, it's been a great talk.
We talked way too much. Our bad.
I know. It's so much fun. Catch me Wednesday night with Jeff. It's gonna be all the way live. I already know y'all think this is good. Lord. It's gonna be all the way live on Wednesday night, 7:00. It's me and Jayla Dre. And we're going to talk about him being old-fashioned and the whole thing about, you know, aggressive women who approach and men paying in the comments. You're going to be commenting on that?
I do too much sometimes. Like,
sometimes.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, my mom called me. She was like, "Oh, he an old soul. That boy's too young to be that old."
He has a very old soul. I agree.
He does have an old soul, but Jeff and I are going to get into just talking about, you know, old-fashioned values and, you know, aggressive women, and where do you draw the line between flirting and, you know, controlling and just walking up to a dude, giving him your number, women paying for dates, all of that stuff. I'm going to try to keep him from talking about calling people names. Wednesday night, 7:00 p.m. You know how he called Lil Kim the Asian mayor.
You know what? We're not going to go there.
So Wednesday night, 7:00 p.m. Me and Jayla Dre right back here live. It's gonna be crazy. I can tell you right now. If you did not catch the dating town hall from last week, I'm gonna repost the video. Y'all can watch it at your leisure, listen to it. It's hilarious. It was me, Epiphany, Jay, Troy, and Horace. We just had a great time, and the next town hall is going to be on the 22nd, and we got some topics coming up, baby. And one of the things we're going to talk about is thirst traps, so y'all want to make sure y'all tune in on the 22nd.
Hopefully my hair is done by then, and I will be breaking some rules for that. Well. I can't do it, girl. There's too many of them. I can't do it.
I know. I don't blame you. So, thank y'all for tuning in. Again, have fun. Y'all be safe on quarantine. We're trying to keep it live, keep it grown, keep it sexy, but keep it classy, and give y'all something to think about, especially those of you who want to date. We do have a topic coming up. We will be talking about dating after divorce. We will be talking about a couple other things coming up. So stay tuned to the dating town halls, and y'all be safe out there on Club Quarantine. Bye.
Bye.